Hi guys, I'm Lucy and I'm here to share a little about my life in Taiwan. So if you like the video, don't forget to click like, share and subscribe. Now, while Taiwan is considering its next step, many other countries have started to open their borders and are reducing restrictions. And Taiwan has done such a good job so far. We have done so well so far. So what's next? I've invited my friend Claire, who is a good friend of mine since I was 6 years old. She is also from the UK and she has experienced this whole COVID outbreak as an expat, as a Brit living in Paris. So I think she has a lot to share.
I guess our mindset has really changed in the last 2 years, whereas for people in, say, Taiwan and other places that haven't experienced it like we have here, you are absolutely not in the same place of thinking as we are. And I completely understand that.
Just last week I left the house. I did that.
Well done.
I left the house. And just when I walked down the road, I saw 3 different people with the full-on shields.
Oh, really? Okay.
In my 5-minute walk, and I was like, wow, like I didn't realize we were back there. Do you know how many cases?
Tell me.
We're at an average of about 50.
Is that it? Oh my God, that's like amazing.
About 50 a day.
I don't think that we've had that since it very first began. Oh my gosh.
Last summer when we were talking and I was like, I haven't left the house and blah, blah, blah. We were on an average, I think we had like a week that was really bad. And we were on an average of about 500.
Yeah, okay. So still super low compared to the cases
Super low compared to
so for you to hear
else,
that we had 500,000 cases in one day, it must just be blowing your minds. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But I'm interested what's going to be the next step, because can we lock down forever?
I guess, but I don't know if that's going to
I just feel like the rest of the world is
coming out,
making the rules slacker. But
then I guess you have to remember that this hasn't gone away in at least in Europe, right? So I don't think we've ever got down to 50 cases a day since it started. So I think you just need to remember that it's now been pretty much 2 years where we've been dealing with this, and we're over it, and it's harsh to say that, but I think everyone is exhausted with dealing with it. And I think we've now come to the stage of it's really not nice. And of course we don't want anyone to die. We'd really rather not anyone get it, but I think we need to be realistic and we have to live our lives too. We can't stay in all the time. And even when we did, it didn't stop, because we're on a continent. I think it's easier when you're an island, and why you guys have been so good. But also, I guess we could argue that, the UK is an island, right? So they could have, and I did say at the time, they should have done exactly the same as what Taiwan did, just completely close the border. But they didn't. I don't know. Eventually someone's going to do a study and figure out which countries did this the best way, so that if it ever happens again, we know how to handle it a bit better. But,
I'm going to say we did.
I reckon.
When I say we, I'm saying Taiwan. Definitely, I'm not saying UK in that.
No, completely
I'm not.
Well, we
one of the Brits did the best job. So it is obviously very easy to form opinions on things that you don't have first-hand experience with. But Claire is actually recovering from COVID as we speak. I feel like whenever anybody talks to me about COVID and they're like, oh, and what about your family in the UK? I'm like, they've all had it.
Yeah.
They've all had it multiple times.
Yeah, they have. All of my family, most of them had it just before Christmas. I had it in the new year.
I love the way you say it, so blasé. Like,
no, it is now. I know, but you know, how ridiculous is that? Because at the beginning, when you found out that someone had it, you were terrified for them, thinking, "Oh God, are you going to pull through this?" You know. And I know people who have lost loved ones from this at the beginning. It's horrible. And I guess now, because we've got ourselves in the mindset.
No, I think when I say to people, I think when I spoke to Sarah last time, she had all 3 kids hanging off of her.
Yeah.
And I was like, why aren't they at school? She's like, oh, the teacher had it. And then the students had it. And I was like, is there anyone that can help you? No. Susan's got it. Her kids
Susie had it. All
Can
of
your
her kids had
parents
it.
help you? No,
my mum and dad caught
they've
it.
got it. I was like, oh man.
So you will have the tests at home, and so you do a daily test now. So if anyone in your family has COVID, previously everyone had to isolate for like 10 days, whereas now, because it was disrupting the economy too much, they've said, okay, well, if someone tests positive, the rest of you can still carry on as normal, but you have to test every day. So you just have the at-home tests, but they're not as accurate, and particularly with this Omicron. So when I got it, I was sick from the Monday. I started to feel kind of like I had sinusitis. It started with a cold and then started to get worse and worse. And on the Thursday, I woke up and I was like, I do not feel well. Like, surely today must be the day that I test positive. And I did. But it took 4 days for it to finally show. So, and I guess it's also difficult to try and do those tests in little kids, right? They're just all running around, like they're trying to move their nose. They don't want to have the tests. So I was sick, and it took me a long time to not be tired, and I still am blocked up, and it's been a month now since I tested positive. But I guess it's a much less severe variant this time, and with the bonus of having vaccines. So a couple of my friends who caught it recently haven't long had their booster, and they've been asymptomatic. But because I'm due my booster, I was due it when I caught it actually, that I guess the efficacy of my vaccine had run out. So yeah.
Are you a little bit grateful that you were at home when you got it?
Yeah, I am, because Mum was making me dinner. I tell you, if I was here by myself, I would have just...
You would have felt so sorry for yourself.
And then just stay in my bedroom all the time. And I had my window open. So of course it's in December, so it's January, so it was cold. But I was really warm, so I must have had a temperature, because I thought, wow, it's really hot in here.
In January in the UK.
Woo! Exactly. And when I left the house like a week later, I walked outside. I was like, oh my God, it's freezing. And they're like, it has been this cold for ages. I was like, oh. Last night, this is a very timely conversation, because last night the UK has now lifted any restrictions on needing a COVID test to enter the country. So you do no testing before you leave, no testing when you arrive, no quarantine, unless you aren't vaccinated. So if you're fully vaccinated, you're fine. If you're not vaccinated, you've still got to quarantine, and you've got to do some tests before and after you arrive. And France also said the same thing last night. So now if I want to travel between here and the UK, I don't have to do any testing on either side, which is fabulous. That's really good. I think you still need to fill in forms. No. Yay!
Yeah, exactly. You can go home and see your family.
Exactly, Lucy, exactly.
Oh, so I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, obviously there's still countries and places where it's still difficult to get in and out. But I think because the UK and France, they've both had crazy number of cases in the last few months with the new variant, the Omicron. In France, at one stage, there was...
How many cases are you getting?
Well, at France, they had like 500,000 cases, new cases a day. 500,000 new cases a day.
500,000 new cases a day? A day?
But the UK had an astronomical number as well, and a lot of cases. So because each country have had so many cases, they, I guess, are almost thinking they're now nearly at herd immunity, because I think both countries are about 80% fully vaccinated. At least with the 2 vaccines. So here we have a pass sanitaire, is what they call it, a health pass. I have to show it on my phone whenever I want to enter a restaurant or a bar, gyms, cinemas. And so they were saying that if you haven't had your booster within 7 months, then that pass is going to expire. So you have to get your booster shot in order to be able to go into all of these places and socialise.
The country's open for anyone with a vaccine.
Yeah, both countries.
Don't have a vaccine, life's pretty difficult.
Still, right? Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't planning to put this in, but after listening to Claire's experience, I feel so grateful for my freedom and my family, because Claire is out there living also as a Brit in another country where she doesn't speak the language, but her experience has been so different to mine. And so thank you, Taiwan, for having me, because really, watch it and you will see the difference between our experience over the last couple of years and hers. It really made me see things in a different light.
There was a certificate you had to complete. We couldn't leave home without a certificate, so we were only allowed out for an hour a day. We were not allowed any further than a kilometre from our house, so like in a circumference, because you were only allowed out once, so you'd have to try and figure it all out in one go.
Who was checking the papers and stuff? So
the police were out on the streets, walking around checking our certificates to make sure that we had everything written as it should be. Those first 2 months were pretty brutal, as you can imagine. Everyone was really quiet. It was super quiet outside, and they closed the parks. They wouldn't let us go to walking along the river because there were too many people. There were too many people going for a run at certain times in the morning, so then you couldn't run. I think you had to go before 10 a.m. and otherwise you weren't allowed to go out for a run. And then in addition to the lockdown, they started putting in a curfew, so you weren't allowed outside of your house unless it was for an emergency or to walk your dog between 6 at evening and 7 in the morning. So it was long.
That sounds depressing.
It was. It was a terrible time. As I imagine everyone had a terrible time. It wasn't just here, but particularly brutal, I think, with the only allowed to leave, for a kilometre and an hour a day. It's too much. And then, but then at that time, I managed to travel back to the UK. So I spent Christmas at home. That was the Christmas of 2020 and then into the new year of 21. So that was when the UK were in lockdown, because they put them in lockdown just immediately, like a couple of days before Christmas. And so the country was not happy. So everyone tried to scramble their way to different places if they could.
Were they more unhappy then, or do you think they're more unhappy now that they found out that the government was partying through that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm angry. I am angry about that. It's really not cool. It is. I mean, and that's putting it politely. It's not cool. Yeah. Don't ask me any more questions on that, Lucy.
They followed all the guidelines. They followed all the guidelines. So after talking for hours, I was so worried that my speaker wasn't working. So thank you, Claire, for your patience and your willingness to re-record everything if need be. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of the video. Bye. I'll let you know that it's recorded first.
God, I'm not going to watch it. Yeah, exactly. Let me know it's recorded. Well, I hope it's okay. If it's not okay, then you'll have to let me know and I'll dress the same and so we'll try and make it work. You have to take a picture of me sat here like this so that we can recreate the background the same, but I can't control the weather, so I don't know what we're going to do about the sunshine.
I should just tell you I need to make a video every few months just so I can...
Yeah, and then I'll just make an effort.
I mean, like I'm recording again. No,
I'm going to come and see you, Lucy. This is what's going to happen. They're going to open the borders. You're going to come here. We'll see you for the wedding. And then I'll finally come and see you in Taiwan.
And then I'll bring you back on the plane. Yeah, I'll put you in the quarantine hotel with the kids.
Like, no,
I will be in the room next door.
No, enough. Leave me alone.
I'll get Disney Plus.
Ooh, okay, fine. Then I'm in. I'm in.
Enjoy your sunshine. It's so nice to see you.
And you, sweetheart. Thanks so much. It's nice to talk to you. Hope
Thank
you're okay.
you. Okay. Bye.
Bonne soirée. I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Au revoir. À tout à l'heure.
À tout à l'heure. Oui, à bientôt. Bye.